What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater. And before we jump in, make sure to like the video down below, comment with somebody you would like addressed in a future video, and as always, subscribe on YouTube to be informed of upcoming videos and live streams. Ring that bell. Now let's jump into today's topic, love you, not you. A very common thing I see between characters in improv scenes is that they don't have a connection with each other and they don't love each other. And don't misconstrue this as like romance. It's just they don't have any connection or investment in each other. And it ultimately boils down to like, why are these two in the same room with each other? They don't seem like they like each other. They don't seem like they have a strong relationship. Why doesn't one of them just walk away? But a lot of the times the scenes just kind of continue until they end, and nothing really was able to like truly be discovered because of the lack of connection and because of more of an F you attitude towards the other person rather than a love you attitude. And what I mean is not all scenes are going to be based around love or affection or getting each other and liking each other. I encourage students sometimes to do those scenes to just get that connection, but there can be those scenes based in conflict, based in argument, based in fights. But the thing that makes them more interesting is knowing that there is kind of a backdrop or a backstory that these two people do get each other. They do like each other. They have past history of having that connection, and we are now witnessing a moment of disconnect with them. But having that backdrop of love makes both of the characters way more vulnerable, right? I mean, if you're in a fight with someone you don't love, they don't love you back, you don't care about them, they don't care about you back, then it's like, it's not personal. Like anything they say to you, it doesn't matter. But hearing something like, I hate you from, a loved one or a father or a close friend, ooh, that hits a lot more, right? We don't brush that off our shoulder. It impacts us. Most sitcoms kind of follow this formula. We got Friends, we got Everybody Loves Raymond, we got Arrested Development, ensemble-based casts involved with families or friends who oftentimes do conflict with each other, have arguments, have, butting heads moments, right? But they do have that backdrop of being friends, being family, loving each other. So at the end of the day, like they can still come together, or they have the potential to come together rather than just like, I don't care about you, I'm gonna leave and just leave the show forever, right? That's what keeps them all together in each other's lives, is that feeling of love. Let's use the example of the movie Stepbrothers to delve into this further. So that movie features Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in a very contentious relationship right at the start of the movie because they are newly formed stepbrothers and their mother and father respectively love each other, And now we have this new relationship with, two stepbrothers who now hate each other. They do have that FU attitude. And there is a lot of great comedy in the beginning of that movie featuring their contentious relationship. And a lot of it's informed by the love they have for their parents, right? They're being territorial, protective, and the status quo has just changed. So it is still very much based in love. And that movie becomes very interesting and funny, more funny, I think, when the two of them end up having that moment of discovery where they actually do connect and love each other. Do we just become best friends? That's a very classic line from that movie. That particular relationship in the movie Stepbrothers, I really think is something we should strive for more in improv. Having those two characters who get each other, like each other, they have a connection, even if there's moments when, like at the beginning of the movie, they hate each other, right? But there is still a connection because they now are family members, They have to find a way to connect, but they are resistant to the idea. And then there's the ultimate payoff of them coming together, which is just fabulous. And that's what we got to do more in improv. We don't need these like dismissive relationships of just like, oh, we're just two people. We don't care about each other. We don't have a relationship or a connection at all. It's just like two people bumping into each other in the middle of a street and they'd be like, hey, F you. And then they just go about their day. There's no cause and effect. It's just gone. It's out of our heads. It just disappears into the void. The strong relationship-based scenes that have a love connection of some sort, whether it's present or past, those resonate more. You could practice this with an exercise where two people are going to receive a suggestion of a relationship. So for example, roommates. And those two people are going to do a scene based in conflict to start, okay? and give them the conflict. So for example, the conflict might be that, they're having an argument in the kitchen because one of them didn't clean up after themselves. Perfect. That is the conflict-based scene that they will start in. You're also going to give them a suggestion of a past moment where their connection was the strongest, okay? It's just a moment where it's just like their relationship, it's kind of like, did we just become best friends moment? That moment. So for example, it might be like, oh, the two went out drinking one night and they did karaoke at a bar together or something. So that is in the past. You'll come to that in a little bit. They're going to start the scene in that scene based on the suggestion of the conflict. So they're going to have an argument in the kitchen over who didn't clean up, right? So have them do that for about a minute and then flash back to that scene that's focused on their connection. In this case, they're in a bar about to do karaoke together. Yeah, they could just do that scene together. And this is, again, their relationship is the strongest it has ever been and ever will be, possibly, for now. And just let them invest in that fun little relationship and then flash forward and just kind of see how, like, having that scene, now that context, that both of them have that connection, might affect what happens now. It doesn't mean they should let go of the conflict and be like, hey, remember we did karaoke that one time? We were best friends. Let's hug it out. I'm sorry. I discourage that because that's almost like letting go of fun potential, right? You can have a great conflict about someone not cleaning up, but again, it's still based on some context from the fact that these two do have a loving relationship. It's just not at its highest right now. And if you want, you can flash back to that karaoke scene, that past scene, You can go back and forth and just see how, the relationship affects the relationship in the present moment, the conflict-based moments. See what happens. It's a lot of fun to try out, and let's love a little more. And that concludes this episode of MUT Tips, everybody. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really appreciate it. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time for another episode of MUT Tips. Bye!